So, a few days ago, someone told me that Brian Fay died. And I'm looking at the internet here, and it says Brian Fay died a few days ago, alone in his mountaintop cabin. Actually, I tried to make a video of this a couple days ago, but I had to erase it. It was too heartbreaking. Oh, it's brutal. Anyway, I've had some time to think about it a little bit. And I think something really valuable was lost when he died. And I wouldn't normally make a video about someone dying, but in this case, I think it's appropriate. Because I know him from his online videos and stuff, and I'm sure that a lot of people who watch my videos know exactly who this guy is and who I'm talking about, even if you don't know him by name. He's the guy who is making an intentional community in Mexico, doing all this permaculture stuff, growing heirloom varieties of plants, and then so he could give out the seeds to people and spread goodness. He was a guy who really cared about the world and put a lot of effort into making the world a better place. And the fact that he died alone in his village, it hits me hard in a few different ways. But let me back up a little bit. So, the first time I met him, I've never met him in real life. We just talked online over the years. But the first time I met him, we quickly realized that we have the exact same life goal. Not as our only life goal, but we both have a major life goal that was the exact same thing, which is to build an intentional village that would kind of be a fortification against the decay of our civilization, Because we saw a lot of the same problems in the world. And if I was to boil that down, this was like an hour and a half conversation. If I was going to boil it down, I would say we both saw that in the world today, certain behaviors are not allowed to succeed, and certain other behaviors are not allowed to fail. And I think a lot of people get this a little bit wrong. They think that certain people are not allowed to fail and certain other people are not allowed to succeed. But no, it's behaviors, certain types of behaviors. If you're doing certain things, you won't be allowed to fail. If you do certain other things, you won't be allowed to succeed. And we talked about this, and talked about how we were the crazies for saying this stuff 20 years ago. It was really hard to talk to anyone about this stuff because they would immediately be like, conspiracy theory, you're crazy, you're making this stuff up, what's going on in your crazy head, But then as the years go by, you get the 2008 housing crisis where banks were making just insane amounts of money with high-risk loans. And then when the loans started getting defaulted on to the point that it was a problem for the banks should have faced the consequences, but because they were doing this certain type of bad behavior very well, they were not allowed to fail. So the taxpayers had to bail them out. How many times have you heard too big to fail? That basically means, these are bad guys and we want to keep them going. Meanwhile, there are all these people in the world trying to do good things and just getting mired in red tape and unable to get things going because they're just piled up with paperwork and fees and blah, blah, blah. And, as the years go by, every time one of these things happen, financial crisis, a quarantine, whatever, one of us would just send a message to the other saying, "You see this? Wow." And the other one would just say, "Yeah." That was it. We didn't have to say anything else. A lot of our conversations were very short. It's just like, wow, right? And yeah. Because we knew what we were saying. We did. Even in that first conversation we had, we would be finishing each other's sentences all over the place. Anyway, we saw a lot of the same problems in the world. And we both thought that one thing that we could do about it would be to make a village where where you're not, where there is no thing saying that you're not allowed to succeed and you're not allowed to fail. Like a place where we could, like, you know, put a stake in the ground and say, this place is sane. This village is going to be a place where anyone can succeed based on their own steam. And there's not going to be some artificial thing that swoops in and saves certain people and punishes others because of some crazy people's agenda, blah, blah, blah. Make an intentional village like that. Not a commune, not a thing where you go and you just get taken care of, and also not some place where rich people come in and just buy some giant crazy house in some community. There are plenty of those kind of places. This is a different kind of thing. And I mean, I could sit here and try to explain it for like 20 minutes, but he knew what I was talking about, and I knew what he was talking about. Anyway, I would see his efforts to do this in Mexico, and I was so impressed at the beginning. And we're very different people. Like, we have this same goal, but we're very different people. You know, I'm very athletic, and I have to exercise and be strong. And dude is like, I'm gonna drink my coffee and watch the sunrise and relax and chill. And I'm like, you know, I want to build big machines, and he's like, I want to paint. And I'm very technical. Like, I have to know how everything works and la la la. And he's very social. So out of the two of us, like, I really like the skills I have, but when I look at him, I'm like, he's way more social than me. Like, he should have a way better time creating a village than me. And I would see posts he made online about, like, he'd have like 50 people at his place. And like having all these cool events and stuff, and just hosting all these people. And he went through thousands of people. Now, of course, you know, some of the people are just schmucks there to try to have a party and wreck some stuff and whatever. You know, put those people aside. Then there are a whole bunch of people who would go to his place to learn from him. But there was always this hope that out of thousands of people, you'd start getting every once in a while someone who would be suitable, who would want to stay and be like, you know, I want to be part of this village. I want to be part of this thing that you're doing. I want to get involved. And a lot of people wanted to get involved, but just kind of temporary. And while he was doing that, I was trying to do the same thing. And at one point, I actually moved from the United States to Panama. I didn't know where I was going at the time. I didn't know I was going to land in Panama. But we talked about maybe me moving to Mexico and living at his village. And every once in a while, I think, I wonder how things would have played out. Like how my life would be and how his life would be if we had ended up in the same place. And he also talked about, after I landed in Panama, he talked about moving down here a little bit. But, you know, we both loved the places we were in and didn't want to move. But anyway, he was going through people like crazy and having all these events, and it was so active at his place. And the problem was, too many people were taking advantage of his hospitality, and no one was staying. Like, there was no one suitable who wanted to stay. And a few years ago, it just got to a point where it seemed like he was just getting run down. Like he was putting out so much energy and so much kindness out into the world. And if you watch videos of this guy, like, you'll see, like, he really cared about people and the world and doing good. And he was, like, all he wanted to do was do good in the world. And, you know, he was taken advantage of too many times. And he stopped inviting people so much. And it just kind of tapered off to the point where, you know, it was like his heart was broken. and he was trying to figure out how to find a new direction where he could make some progress, because he'd been trying a bunch of different things and it was just getting nowhere. And I was having the exact same experience. I'd maybe gone through 100 people, because I am not nearly as social as him. And I always thought to myself, if anyone can make this work, it's this guy. But he was having the exact same problem which I was having, which was that people were just either not interested or unable to live up to the requirements of like taking a role in an intentional community that's not just being given everything. I don't know how to explain it. Like, anyway, so the last few years, he was just really having a rough time. And I kept hoping that at some point he would like something would break other than him, because he never gave up. He kept putting out kindness in the world and trying to do good, even though he was just out of gas. And at one point, he fell off his roof and broke his legs, and I really think that a lot of that had to do with just losing the will to live. But he managed to recover from that, and he kept coming back, and he still kept trying, for years. But in the end, he just never got out of the hole. Here, let me read a message from, a post he made, I don't know, about a month ago. He said, "Generator dead again. Solar been dead for a while." The solar system was dead. "Life too hard. People online too mean. Constant requests to live here for free from people against capitalism. They get angry when I say no. See you when I can fix things." I responded, "I know where you're coming from, still fighting over here." And I don't have to say anything more, because he knows what I've been doing. And I know what he's been doing. He just gave me the thumbs up. And that's how a lot of our interactions went, because there really wasn't much more for us to say to each other. We had this, we knew what each other was thinking. And it's a rare thing to come across a person where you have that kind of, mental alignment, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, I guess he never did quite fix things. And I don't know the details of how he died or, any of the information about it, but I really think he died of a broken heart a few years ago. And after that, it was just a slow decline until his body went with the rest of them. And to me, the heartbreaking thing is to see someone. I guess there's two things really. One is that he was this guy who was beside me, like we were both on this journey, like running this race together, and going through the same stuff like year after year, and now he's not there anymore. And the other thing is that like to see a guy put that much effort into doing good in the world, and just having a complete failure of the goal. And I don't want to say he was a complete failure. He did a lot of, I think he did a lot of good in the world. He affected a lot of people. He definitely had a good influence on a lot of people. But the goal of creating the village, that was just complete failure, as far as I understand. And man, if he couldn't do it, I don't know how I could make that happen. But anyway, I think it really says something not very good about our society, the way things are today, to have a person who's that good and that kind and who cares that much just run into so many problems and end up dying alone. Yeah, man. Anyway, Brian, I'm still here, still chasing the dream. I don't know where you are, but wherever it is, I hope you're at peace.